Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to talk about why I actually like the Doctor Doom casting. So, in case you missed it, Comic-Con was the other week, and Marvel, for the first time in a while, decided to have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con, and they made a pretty big splash. Some people might disagree with that, but I think as a whole, in terms of getting people talking, it was definitely successful. It was definitely a big splash. They focused on movies for the most part, maybe like 3 or 4, I think, for the main part. I think they're saving some for D23 a little bit later, but the biggest thing from Marvel to come out of San Diego Comic-Con is that we have our Doctor Doom, and it is Robert Downey Jr. Now, there's been a lot of talk about it, some good, some not so good, but I'm going to tell you why I like the casting. And right before I jump into anything, if you don't like the casting, it's completely fine. Like, you are allowed to not like it. It's okay. I'm not trying to tell you why you're wrong. I'm not trying to tell anybody why I'm right for liking it. You can have your own opinion. It's completely fine. I'm not going to hate you for not liking it. And honestly, you shouldn't hate me for liking it. I just wanted to voice my opinion on why I think Robert Downey Jr. is a fun, interesting, and probably a good casting choice. But before we go any farther, go ahead and like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. So first things first on why I like this casting is that Robert Downey Jr., regardless of what he's done in the MCU before, just whatever, take everything away, Robert Downey Jr. is an absolutely fantastic actor. He's a world-class actor. He's an Oscar-winning actor. He is so incredibly talented. He's more than just Tony Stark. Watch some of his other movies. If you've only seen him as Tony Stark, you're missing out on a few different sides of his acting career. I think Robert Downey Jr. has a very wide range, and he is an absolute world-class actor. And if you kind of want maybe a preview of a tiny bit of what his Doctor Doom could even be like, go watch Oppenheimer if you haven't. He's kind of one of the antagonists of the film, and that's what he won his Oscar for. And he is so good in Oppenheimer. That Oscar was 100% deserved. And so I feel like his performance in Oppenheimer can have some like Doctor Doom undertones. And so I don't think that they're going to bring him back just to be a villain version of Tony Stark. I don't think he's going to be acting the same way he did throughout his entire previous MCU history. Robert Downey Jr. is a good enough actor to make the change and make the distinction. And I think the Russo brothers, who are directing these 2 new Avengers movies, I think they're also smart enough to realize he can't just act the same. And also, for those concerned, they didn't say he's playing an evil variant of Tony Stark. He is playing Victor Von Doom. And my thought is maybe he's playing the Victor Von Doom from whatever universe the new Fantastic Four is from. I have a theory that because of the timing of the casting announcement, the Fantastic Four filming just getting started, and the fact that there were rumors that they had shot some things previous to actual principal photography because of the schedules of the actors, I have a feeling, whether it's just a post-credit scene or just a small role or something, I have a feeling that we will be seeing Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom, in the Fantastic Four movie. But continuing on, I think that they might be drawing a little bit from the infamous Iron Man series. Now, I have not read this story yet. I have ordered it. It is currently on the way to my house as I speak. But from what I've heard, there's a lot of people that actually really like the story. It's a recent story from 2016. It is written by Brian Michael Bendis, who has done a lot of really good work. And it follows Victor Von Doom taking up the Iron Man mantle. And they mentioned at Hall H that he will be the villain of both new Avengers movies, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So my guess is that Marvel will be doing what, in my opinion, they're pretty great at for the most part, and that is taking these comic stories as like a building block and expanding upon them and changing them to fit the universe that they have already developed and established. They've done that with like The Winter Soldier and Infinity War Endgame. They did so with Civil War. They've taken a lot of different comic stories and kind of adjusted them to fit the story they really wanted to tell, but they used those as like a building block. So my guess is that they might be using some of the infamous Iron Man story. They might be using some of both versions of the Secret Wars stories and kind of giving us something that's new and unique and really interesting for the universe. I heard some people say that they think that this casting is lazy and desperate, and I don't necessarily see it that way. I think kind of lazy and desperate would be just bringing him back as a Tony Stark variant that is basically the exact same as the one we've had, and I think that's what a lot of people thought that they were going to do. Instead, they're bringing the face of one of the MCU's greatest heroes, and they're making him one of the MCU's greatest villains. I think that's absolutely taking a risk, because you do have to think, like, what if the audiences just refuse him as Doctor Doom? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but I mean, anything's a possibility, really. If you talk about could something happen, the answer is yes, it could happen. So it is a risk. And I believe we all knew at some point that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be coming back to the MCU. We just didn't know exactly when or exactly how. But I think this is a very unexpected and interesting way to bring such a beloved actor back into a franchise in such a very different way. I think in terms of storytelling as a whole, it can also be kind of an emotional shorthand for the audience. So you look at it like this, which is kind of the time that we have, and we're going to need Doctor Doom in Doomsday, maybe even in Fantastic Four, but we're definitely going to need him in Avengers Doomsday in like a little over 2-ish years. And there's not a ton of time to fully develop a brand new Doom for the audience, which I understand. People like me, people like you, I'm sure who's watching this video, we know who Doctor Doom is. We don't need any kind of shorthand. We don't need any kind of emotional shortcuts or anything. We understand who Doctor Doom is, but you got to think the average moviegoer probably has no idea. And also, they've tried Doctor Doom a couple of different ways, probably like 3 or 4 times at least, and none of them have really been successful. So this is just a different way of going about it. But with the time we have, like I was saying, there's not a ton of it to fully develop a brand new character with a deep and intricate storyline where he has his fingers in everything. They can't do what they did with Thanos in the first however many movies, however many years. They just frankly don't have the time for it. And so if they do kind of adapt a little bit of the infamous Iron Man story in the MCU here, that can be very successful, especially because of the audience's connection with Tony Stark and with Tony's history. I think there's a ton to work with there. Plus, another thing is you're telling a giant multiversal story. So in this version of the events, why not capitalize on that? I trust the Russo brothers working with Marvel. They have a great working relationship with Marvel, and them coming back to direct these 2 new Avengers films, I think is a good idea. I think it's a good choice. Now, you might have seen my video from, I think, a couple weeks ago talking about some of the rumors. There was a rumor that Marvel had rejected them. I think the scooper who reported that was probably told some kind of version. Maybe they had met with Marvel and one of their pitches was rejected and they were just kind of spitballing ideas. Maybe that's where that came from. But like I said in that video, I think they would be a good choice to direct the Avengers films because they've done a great job before. And also, in my opinion, they haven't missed with their Marvel films. And one of the writers from all of the Marvel films that they have done is coming back to write both of these films. I'm sure he's going to take the scripts that are there and just do his thing and improve upon them. So I think this combination of actor, writer, directors, I think it works. And I think we'll have something pretty special, honestly. Now, don't get me wrong. I completely understand somebody wanting somebody like Cillian Murphy to be Doctor Doom. I mean, if I was doing my own Vincast, that's who I would have done. If I was in charge, if Kevin Feige asked me, hey, do you think we should kind of adapt this infamous Iron Man story? I would say, I don't know. Probably not. Let's go with something a little bit more traditional at first. But I think this can definitely work. But I absolutely think somebody like Cillian Murphy would be a great Doom in theory. And that's not to say after the events of Secret Wars, after they kind of reshape the universe or whatever they're going to do, that somebody like Cillian Murphy can't just step into the role, no problem. And they can even keep the character's history too, because Doom can do like a mind transference like he's done in the comics before, just transfer his mind and consciousness into a different body. Maybe it's Cillian Murphy's body. Boom, there you go. You got another Doctor Doom. Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have to play Doom anymore, and you got somebody else going forward in the MCU. But what I would say about some of the fan casting just in general is that it's fun to think about who might could play these characters, who might you would want to see play these different characters that we love, but you kind of have to think it depends on the script. Maybe Cillian Murphy would not be a good fit for the script and for the ideas that they have. I mean, you never know. Look, you think maybe Daniel Radcliffe would be an incredible Wolverine, and maybe he would. Maybe he would be an incredible version of a Wolverine, but maybe in the new X-Men movies, that's not necessarily the way they're writing the character. Maybe he wouldn't necessarily be a fit. But overall, I think that this announcement was very unexpected, but also very exciting. And if you do not like this casting, if you do not like the announcement, it's completely fine. You are 100% allowed to have your own opinion. You're 100% allowed to not like the direction they're taking. Don't let me saying why I think it works take away from you thinking it won't. But one thing I will say is please just have an open mind. Be willing and open. Just leave your expectations at the door and just wait to see what they deliver us. Not to bring it up again, like so many people have done, but remember, people hated Heath Ledger's casting as the Joker to begin with. People hated Hugh Jackman's casting as Wolverine to begin with. People hated Michael Keaton's casting as Batman to begin with. You know, we just don't really know until we see the finished product. But that's it. That's why I actually like the Doctor Doom casting. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I'd love to have a conversation with you about it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a video. You can follow me on social media pretty much anywhere at CinemaSeth, and I'll see you next time.